Russian invasion of Ukraine continues, both sides are making moves. Ukraine's president is speaking out after NATO refused to impose a no-fly zone, which he had requested over the country. This as Russian President Vladimir Putin has cracked down on social media, and there are concerns about a nuclear disaster. A person was hit while walking on I-95 in Chesterfield Friday night. State police tell us they responded to the scene near Woods Edge Road exit, and they found that a person had been hit by a black Nissan Rogue. 11 people have been indicted in connection to the alleged hazing death of VCU freshman Adam Oakes. Oakes died of alcohol poisoning back in February. Happening in the day ahead, Nutsy's block party returns to the Diamond. It's your first chance to pick up game tickets for the Flying Squirrels season. As you can see behind me here, crews are still working on Church Road. In addition to that burst pipe, drivers and pedestrians need to be really careful of all the water that's been dumped on this road today, which has the potential to freeze tonight as things get colder. It's been more than 15 years since this happened and taken that long, but authorities believe they may have finally found the man responsible for the death of 21-year-old Edbel Felipe Hernandez Sacoup. Now, if convicted on all charges, the suspect, Dimas de Jesus Luna, could be looking at a lifetime behind bars. In the courtroom, the judge in this case, Claire Cardwell, said that White needs to feel the tragedy that the Oakes family has to deal with every single day. She said she could think of no better way to do that than having him sit in a jail cell. However, counsel for the Oakes family said that they reached the agreement they did because White did show remorse for his actions and has agreed to do what he can to make sure no one else faces the tragedy that Oakes did. Live in Richmond tonight, Olivia Jaquith, 8 News. Today you can still see some of the marks left right here in this parking lot from the burnouts and donuts that were happening Saturday night again here at Southside Plaza as part of Project RVA Takeover. Authorities say the event was organized via social media, and that's ultimately how they found out about it and were able to prepare. Hundreds of vehicles converging on Richmond in a so-called car club takeover Saturday night. Today, the marks left behind visible from the sky.
They're taking their life into their own hand, and not only their life, but an innocent pedestrian who may not know exactly what's taking place and may end up being a victim of their foolishness.
This video, shared by Instagram user slidethrough.804, shows people and cars filling the parking lot at Southside Plaza, just one of the locations where authorities say they ended up. Here, a car doing donuts as a crowd looks on. Richmond Police Chief Gerald Smith saying drivers from as far north as Maryland use social media to coordinate this dangerous event known as Project RVA Takeover.
There are very few parking lots around here that can hold 300 vehicles, and they gathered up in those large parking lots around the city. And we were able to recognize that and be able to watch them as they left.
With the help of authorities from Henrico, VCU, Hanover, and state police, RPD was able to track the drivers from the ground and the sky, ultimately leading to one arrest. Richard C. Shreve Jr. was charged with a felony and 2 misdemeanors. He is behind bars in Richmond.
It's a concern, even without that type of behavior. Taking over a street is not what they are allowed to do. The streets are for the citizens of Richmond to get from one place to the other. How does someone get from their location to go to a dialysis appointment or to something? That is not what the streets of Richmond are for.
Now, Richmond police say this could have been a potentially deadly gathering, but officers were able to break up this illegal activity over the course of 6 different locations, ending just after 12:30 Sunday morning.
Certainly a concerning situation, Olivia, but let's look toward the future. Are officials concerned that this is something that could be repeated in coming weeks?
Yes, Eric, I actually asked Chief Smith about that earlier today, and he said this is always a concern, although not likely to happen again on such a large scale as we saw this weekend. But he did note that events like this have been happening in other areas in the state as well as across the country.
All right, something to keep our eyes on. Thanks, Olivia.
They left their home, their family, their pets, their belongings, coming here with just one bag to get away from the horrors unfolding in Ukraine. And since arriving in Chesterfield, they tell me they've been overwhelmed by the outpouring of support from their neighbors, but that they hope to one day return and rebuild their city. 5 days underground.
I thought I'm gonna die. That's it.
Tanya and Sonia, relatives of a Chesterfield man, were among the roughly 10 people hiding out in a cellar in Kharkiv as bombs exploded overhead.
She asked, will you die, Mom? On the first day, bombs fell on near our house on our street. We decided to run to the railway station.
The pair traveled with their husband and father more than 2 days to get to Poland, where they eventually caught a flight to Washington, D.C., leaving family and their homeland behind.
I miss my friends, I miss my grandparents, I miss my city, I miss my country. Right now I'm feeling so sad.
Tanya and Sonia are trying to keep in touch with family back home in Kharkiv, a city they say has seen more destruction now than it did in World War II.
Please help our country, because our country, very small, peaceful, beautiful country, is like one of your state, but it's fight now like hero.
Now, Sonia is just 17 and had just started to study psychology in Ukraine. That's a dream her mother says she hopes will still be possible here in the U.S. Just a few hours ago, we learned that this actually all started with a shooting on Jank Road. But as you noted, I'm here on German School Road now, which was closed off to traffic for several hours earlier today, and as you can see, has since reopened. But you can also see behind me crews working near a telephone pole where a car was found crashed earlier today, again in this area of German School Road, and that's exactly why police say they were initially called here. But when they arrived on scene, what they found was a man shot to death. Virginia State Police are investigating what a spokesperson tells me was an unusual incident. It ended with, as you mentioned, one person being identified right now only as a 40-year-old black man from Richmond jumping from the bridge into the James River below. But questions remain about what led up to that crash and the eventual fatal jump. The CDC reversed course last week, recommending that people in areas of high transmission of COVID-19 wear those masks indoors, regardless of whether they're vaccinated. Here at home, Governor Ralph Northam followed suit, but it still isn't a requirement. Now, as you mentioned there, next up, playoffs for both Dinwiddie and Thomas Dale. Coach Tucker telling me if they can stay healthy, he believes the Knights have a good shot at going far. Now, who you got next?